Well. It's your old pal, Mr. Isaacs, here once again with a brand new installment of the Eye on Horror series here on my YouTube channel. And today, I just want to discuss a very polarizing film that came out this past weekend in theaters across North America and on the streaming service known as Peacock, NBC streaming service. And of course, I'm talking about Halloween Ends. So, this is a very polarizing film. All right. So, I just wanted to come on here and I'll be doing some of these from time to time with my Eye on Horror series where I'm basically reviewing, kind of discussing. I don't really want to call it a review per se. It's just kind of my thoughts, kind of my unfiltered thoughts straight off the top of my brain. I have nothing written down, no notes, no fancy production value. You could probably see a picture of me up here smoking a skull pipe and a little gray effect just to make this look a little more haunting. But yeah, that's basically it. That's what I offer on this channel, pal. So let's get right into it. Very, very polarizing film. And let's talk about why that is. So Halloween Ends is supposed to be the ultimate showdown, the climatic finale of the Halloween franchise. And, of course, we had this current trilogy that we're on right now that just concluded. Started with the 2018 Halloween. Went on to Halloween Kills. And now to Halloween Ends. And the 2018 film I thought was really good. I really enjoyed it. I thought that was a really good kind of Halloween 2, since it kind of erased all the other Halloween movies from existence. And that basically kind of usurped the role of Halloween 2. But I thought that was really good. And you know, I might go back and review the previous two films, maybe even the older ones on this channel another time. But this one's about Halloween Ends. But just kind of leading up to that, the 2018 Halloween came out, was good. Halloween Kills came out. A lot of people didn't like it. You know, it kind of had the goofy evil dies tonight mantra that kind of got a little ridiculous. I mean, let's be honest. But overall, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good movie. I know a lot of people hated it. But oh boy, Halloween Ends. Halloween Ends is a totally different beast. I just want to start this by saying I don't think Halloween Ends is a terrible film. I really don't. I think it was fairly well acted. I even think it was, I guess, somewhat fairly well written. I just don't think this was a good finish to the culmination of a 40-year cinematic feud in the horror genre between Laurie Strode and her brother, the Shape, Michael Myers. I just don't think this was really a fitting end to everything. So let's get into it. Halloween Ends introduced this brand new character, and this is going to have spoilers, by the way. So if you haven't seen this film yet, go ahead and close out of this video. Come back when you have seen it. It's going to make a lot more sense to you. And I have a feeling a lot of people are going to agree with what I have to say about this. But it started with this new character, Corey. This character accidentally kills a kid. Kind of becomes a social pariah. Everybody in Haddonfield hates him, yada, yada, yada. He's a tormented soul. He's bullied, blah, 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 blah. You know, we've kind of seen this with characters in other franchises and other films in the past. But, you know, this character ends up forming a bond with Allison, who's Laurie Strode's granddaughter, who's, of course, the last surviving member of her family. With Michael having killed all the other ones, including her ex-boyfriend. He met his ultimate demise, I think, in Halloween Kills. But they kind of strike up a relationship. Like, hey, we're a couple of oddballs. We both are social outcasts here in Haddonfield. We don't feel like we belong. We've both been part of these real horrible, tragic events, and they formed a bond. And it obviously formed into a romantic relationship. Yada yada yada. But this took up probably 80 to 90% of the film. was the story of this new character, Corey, who wasn't a bad character, but it just didn't fit the ending to this franchise. And of course the Corey character ends up kind of being somewhat of an accomplice to a very apparently weakened Michael Myers, because this Michael Myers was so weak that he got easily overwhelmed by Laurie Strode and Allison and was killed with not much of a struggle, to be honest with you. Pretty disappointing. I mean, I know Michael Myers was 70 years old, but the fact that he's the Shape and he's the personification of evil, he should have still kind of maintained his physical dominance over everybody else. And for him to be so kind of docile in this movie, it just didn't work for me, man. It just didn't work. I expect Michael Myers to be the old school boogeyman Michael Myers that just hacks and slashes everybody and mows everybody down. I mean, look at the ending of Halloween Kills, okay? Let's go back to that one. And he's basically taking on the entire city of Haddonfield, slashing them, taking them out. Almost like it reminded me of like an old school martial arts film. It's like a Bruce Lee film. Like he was hacking and slashing and just throwing people around and body parts flying everywhere. It almost looked like a sequence from Kill Bill. But it was Michael Myers. And this wasn't a Tarantino film. Probably would have been better if it was. But that's kind of what it resembled. And for him to go to that, to go into hiding and living under a bridge, and 4 years later, pop back out and get this apprentice out of nowhere, and it just didn't work for me, man. Like, this entire movie should have been strictly about Laurie Strode and Michael Myers and them ending their literal 40-year feud. That's what this should have been about. And I don't think the story was bad, and I don't think the Corey character was bad. I think that if they had stuck this Halloween film, maybe sandwiched it between the 2018 Halloween and Halloween Kills, I think it would have fit there pretty well. But to stick it at the very end of the franchise and have this kind of usurp the action and the screen time between Laurie Strode and Michael Myers, I don't think that was the right direction. And it seems to me like most of the other commentators or whatever, horror aficionados that I see online kind of say the same thing. Why did they take the focal point away from what is literally probably the longest running feud between two characters in cinematic history? I mean, this has gone on for well over 40 years. 1978. I wasn't born then. I was born in 1983. 1978 is when this feud started. And it was just such a weak, unsatisfying ending. But I don't think it was a bad film overall. It just shouldn't have been the last one. And it had some decent kills in it. Particularly for me, what I liked was when Michael and Corey went to the radio station, and Michael took the radio DJ, who was using a microphone like this, a dynamic microphone that you're supposed to speak into the end of, and he had it turned up, speaking into the side of it. I was like, that's stupid. Okay, but So Michael takes his head and bashes it on the turntable and pulls his tongue out. Corey snips his tongue, and then you see the tongue spinning on the turntable. And I thought that was kind of a funny aesthetic. So I mean, there were a couple of decent kills in this movie, but overall the gore was kind of low. Like it just wasn't. It wasn't like Halloween Kills. Halloween Kills was just blood everywhere. This wasn't really like that. This was a little more subdued, and I think this should have been like grandiose. This should have been like over the top gore and over the top conflict between Laurie Strode and the shape Michael Myers. And we just didn't get that. I kind of, in a way, see this almost like I saw the second Rob Zombie Halloween. Now, I love the first Rob Zombie Halloween. I thought it was a great take. And to be honest, I like it almost as much as the 1978 original classic Halloween. But the second one, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, took the story too far off the beaten path and got too weird with the visions of the mother and the horse, and it just got too weird. And I think it was a great slasher film just in its own right, but it wasn't a great Halloween film. And I think there's a distinction to be made here. And I kind of feel the same way about this movie. I don't think this is as good as the second Rob Zombie's Halloween, but I think as a standalone film, it's decent. It's good. I don't even want to say if it's pretty good. I don't know if it's worthy of pretty. It's good. But it just should not have been the ending to this franchise. This franchise deserved better. The fans who have supported this franchise for decades deserve better. And who knows? We know that eventually, probably a decade down the road, somebody's going to remake Halloween again, and they're going to reboot it, and it's going to be a new Laurie Strode, and yada, 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 yada. It's going to happen. I don't believe for 1 second that this is the absolute ending of Halloween. So we will see these characters back again in some capacity. So hopefully next time they do it a little better. Just my thoughts. Anyways, this is the Eye on Horror series. Your old pal, Mr. Isaacs here. I am wishing you all a very safe, very fun Halloween. And if you can eat sweets, eat lots of it. If you're diabetic, don't. But if you can, eat a lot of candy, sit around, watch a lot of horror films. Thank you very much. Goodbye.